This beautiful fox died after it was shot through the belly, probably by someone that was rearing sheep or pheasants and didn't want it competing with them. What's really amazing about its story is that the person that called me out at Herefordshire Wildlife Rescue to go and try and save its life was a sheep farmer. And the farmer had managed to catch the fox because it had become so ill and put it in a cage right next to an enclosure with some ewes, some sheep in. They were about to give birth, and a couple of lambs. So it was just this remarkable scene where you had this ancient conflict between a predator and a livestock farmer, and yet this man really wanted to save this animal's life. He took the fox out of the crate and he held it while I tried to administer fluids, but it died in his arms as he did that. It whimpered and it died. And then his wife said, "Can I hold it?" And what was so remarkable was that she picked it up and she cradled it in her arms. And her husband teasingly said to her, "Oh, it's gonna come back to life and bite you." And she said, "I wish it would. I wish it would come back to life. That would be the best thing." And what's really interesting about this story is that it encapsulates the diverse attitudes we have to our wildlife in Britain. For some people, this is a pest, it's vermin and they want rid of it. And for other people, it is a beautiful creature that graces our countryside and enriches our lives. I want you to think with me for a minute about this fox as symbolising the human history of persecution of predators in our landscape. So we've wiped out the wolf, the bear, the lynx, we've almost completely wiped out the wildcat. There are quite a lot of foxes in Britain. There are 240,000. That sounds like a lot, but it's not a lot when you compare it to the number of people there are. So there are at least 300 people for every fox in Britain. My concern about the British landscape is that we are building so many houses and our population is expanding so rapidly, and we are so focused on consuming stuff, buying stuff, and on building things and on having a perfect house and a perfect car and looking a certain way, that our wildlife is just going to end up just completely being sidelined and potentially annihilated, that we're going to end up with hardly any wildlife. That's my concern. Generally speaking, our wildlife is in decline, and we need to rethink our relationship with it. We need to kind of shed our animal response to other predators and think, do we really want to live in a landscape that's completely devoid of interesting creatures, that maybe we just will end up having rats and pigeons and nothing else? We need to rethink that relationship and make space for other wild animals.